Life has a lot of choices. So much to do, so little time. And Stardew Valley is no exception. Farming, fishing, taking care of the animals, artisan goods, mining, and of course, dating. But what if we took away one of these choices that make our already hectic lives even more hectic? We could take away fishing, but I love a good fishing minigame. We could take away dating, but there still would be lots to do. And what is life without love? Mining is kind of needed for stuff, so that's not great either. No! We shall be playing Stardew Valley and not farm! I've already lied to you. There will be farming, but minimal farming! Only the essential farming. I have compiled a list of crops necessary for the completion of the game, because it's important to have goals in life. I've been itching to do a Stardew Valley video for a while, and with the release of 1.6, I decided there's no time like the present. I have only sparsely played Stardew Valley from time to time. Just take a look at my playtime. So, I'm no expert at this game in any means, so expect plenty of bumbling, missing things, etc. But we don't come to that Blurst channel on YouTube for perfect gameplay and skill. I don't know what we come here for. Now, on to the video! Meet Farmer Blurst of No Farm Farm, our farmer of this playthrough of Stardew Valley. I've skipped the intro, so it's straight into the game. Day 1 begins just as every normal Stardew Valley playthrough does. This little exclamation mark up here, flashing away, telling me to do this and do that. I'll do this, but I won't do that. At least not yet. I've selected the Meadowlands farm because it's new and exciting. It has chewy blue grass that the animals love and comes with 2 chickens, Boofs and Goofs. Fellas! It's the perfect farm for this playthrough. The chickens will lay eggs to gain money and have our farming skill go up. Slowly, but it will increase. However, crops will grow slower. So when I eventually grow the handful of crops I need, they'll take more time than usual. Not that I remember how long the usual is. It was time to do this and ignore that. This was greet everybody. So I ran around greeting everyone. There isn't many things to do when you're not farming on the first day. Willy isn't in town yet, the community centre isn't ready, and the mines aren't open. So running around wildly is always our best option. When in doubt, run around wildly. Pierre wasn't selling fertilizer yet, and he called me missblurst, which annoyed me. The fertilizer was so I could gain the 5 gold star parsnips on the first try, without having to farm too much. Spoilers, that didn't go too well. Whilst hanging out with everybody at the saloon, who were diligently drinking their troubles away, I discovered sitting down. Farmer Blurst sits in the least ladylike way possible, and I love that for her. You go, girl. Maybe not like how Pam sits, though. On the second day, Pierre was selling backpacks, but I didn't care, because I didn't need one. I needed fertilizer. In fact, I never got the backpack. Willy was back! And he'd sent me a letter, giving me another thing to do. So it was off to see Willy at the beach, and Gunther at the museum, to give him the shell I'd found yesterday. Willy got it and called me Miss, unlike that Pierre. I wish you could romance Willy. He's a real gentleman. He gave me his fishing pole, but I didn't fish with him and I regret that now. There was still stuff to do before starting fishing. Gunther had a cool cowboy hat, which I'd like to get, but I believe in order to obtain the cowboy hat, one has to finish the museum collection first. That wasn't happening anytime soon. It's a shame, because I own 2 cowboy hats. Because my farmer Blurst looks like this, not far off what I look like in real life, I'm a real doof. I thought it would be funny to romance Haley. She's always all dolled up, whereas I'm dressed like a toddler. Elliot would have been funny too, but I couldn't find him. Haley likes daffodils, so anytime I saw one, I would give it to her or store it away to give to her later. I spent the rest of the day clearing the farm, collecting the stone and wood for resources later. A big goal of mine for spring was to get the barn and a cow before the end of spring, so I could get a head start on cheese making, as it's a dream of mine in real life to make my own cheese. Day 3 was raining, but Spoofs and Goofs had laid their first egg, ticking off our first quest. Demetrius, local father, wanted a sunfish, so I stored away my hoe and watering can and got fishing. To be honest, the whole reason I wanted to play Stardew Valley was mainly to fish. There's no right or wrong way to play Stardew Valley, and I just wish I could fish all the time. Wish I could fish. Robin had put in a request to look at 25 pieces of lumber, which is weird, but it's an easy 200 gold. A big quality of life change I like with this update is that when you're doing these I want to look at X amount of things quests, it actively tracks the item you're looking for. Making these quests a breeze. When I'd collected them all and got into Robin's house to complete this quest, Robin was getting ready to look at different kind of lumber, if you know what I mean. Books, people! Books! Get your mind out of the gutter, viewer. Children play this cozy pixel farming game. The next day, she'd put in another request, asking for 25 stone this time. I'd gathered these up with ease, and headed over and tried to not look her in the eye, knowing what she did last night. These are weird requests back to back, but the gold is easy and I got an easy amount of resources early game. I still had 3 more people left to meet. Sebastian, Leah, and Elliot. Somehow I just hadn't managed to bump into them whilst running around wildly around town. But we would still have to wait, as there was someone far more important to meet. The next morning, Marnie finally brought over the dog, whom we named Snoots. Now we had Spoofs, Goofs, and Snoots. Marnie wanted to name him Snooch. That's an utterly ridiculous name, Marnie. Good choice! Jojamart had sent me a letter claiming their drilling operation was completely legal, and as they had to mention it to me, that sounds a little sus. But what do I know? Pretty stationary though. They were also informing me that the mines were finally open. We could begin mining. This was the day that I remembered that crops took longer to grow on this chosen farm. So I actually brought some seeds and ploughed the field, and then sowed the seeds, ready for them to grow. So I could complete the bundles. Not that the community centre was ready yet. I spoke too soon. After heading into town, this triggered the community centre cutscene. And Mayor Lewis hated on Jojo, and I spaced out looking at the Junimos. Afterwards, I carried on with my day, completely forgetting about the community centre. The draw of fishing was just way too strong. This meant the wizard didn't send me a letter the next day, telling me to meet him, meaning I couldn't read the Junimo language, meaning the bundles couldn't get started, and now I was behind a day on everything, because I didn't go back into the community centre. I did, however, manage to meet the last couple of people I hadn't met at the bar that Friday. But I'd already given Haley her 2 daffodils that week, and I didn't care enough about anybody else to see what they liked, so this quest wouldn't get ticked off till Monday. The Saturday was uneventful. I finally ventured into the mine and did some fishing, but nothing to really shout about. I'm not going to mention every single day. The wizard had finally sent me a letter telling me to meet him, and the Hot Adventurer Guild guy wanted me to kill 10 slimes. The travelling salesperson was en route to the wizard. And let me tell you this was the first and last time I visited them, because I completely forgot about them. The wizard's clothing is exactly the aesthetic I'm looking for right now in real life. And after getting high with him, I could now read the Junimo language and began dropping stuff off at the community centre for the bundles. It only took a whole week of being here. Everything was finally coming together, which is so exciting. Lewis was telling me about this new ticket prize machine, but I already had a ticket and it was in his house. It's a bit weird, but gacha is all the rage right now. Lewis is so hot on trends. Except I rolled terribly and got seeds. I'm not farming, Lewis. Read the sign! Then I thought about it. Perhaps I should ship one of each crop to tick it off in my journal. Now I needed to buy more seeds and plant them. I'd missed my opportunity for the fruit trees, so I'm hoping to redeem that in the summer with the fruit bat cave. But I promise, this is about as big as the farm as it gets. Hat Mouse was in town. And as a major hat lover myself, there was no way I wasn't visiting him straight away. I bought myself a Sue Weston hat. And now I officially own this whole outfit in real life. Maybe one day I'll cosplay my Stardew Valley character. The next few days were spent doing typical Stardew Valley things. Getting to level 10 of the mines. Fishing. Putting those fish in the community centres. Do you tick off the bundles when you get an item? Or do you knock it all out in one go? Fishing. Helping people with their requests. Fishing. You know, the usual things. Robin had lost her axe. I knew where it was, but immediately forgot about this quest the moment I closed the letter. Because Robin had sent me another letter about adding a kitchen to my house. I would love to start cooking, but that would have to be a summer goal. I doubt I could save for the barn, a cow, and a kitchen without farming all in one season. I'd stolen some torches from the mines a few days back, so we could get some illumination on this situation. At some point I needed to give something to Evelyn, but I couldn't find her. She wasn't in her house and I had to see this. If I had to see this, so do you. No one wants to see that, Alex. I don't care if this is your own home. Put a shirt on! I lied. Again. The farm got a tiny bit bigger. We needed more room for even more parsnips. And it soon became the bane of my existence. The night before the Egg Festival, a plane flew over the valley, dropping mystery boxes from the sky, which was very exciting. But there was no time for that, because it was time for the Egg Festival! In the post, my dad had sent me 500G for being a grown-up. I wish my dad in real life would send me £500 for being a grown-up. If you're watching, Father! None of the parsnips this time I harvested were Gold Star. So it was time to get more parsnips when I could. I told you they would become the bane of my existence, and this continues. It was time to go to the festival at last. I brought myself some strawberry seeds, some lawn flamingos, and some seasonal plants, because I was confused and didn't know what they did, but they look nice. After talking to everybody, it was time for the egg hunt. I was ready. No one was going to get more eggs than me. Even if I had to restart that day, I was winning that hat. Fortunately, it didn't come to that, and I won first time. Take that, Abigail! I returned home, triumphant, and placed my purchased goods around my farm and headed to bed. I gave Snoots the hat, and it looked great on him, and it matched his little kerchief. Business as usual that Sunday. Minimal farming, mining, bundles. That evening, though, I realized the ability to make fertilizer had been inside me this whole time. Meaning, I already knew the recipe. I didn't need to wait for Pierre to sell it. I could just make it. Hopefully now, I get a gold star parsnip. The morning of day 15, and just the cauliflower to add to the spring bundle. But we were running out of time for our cow goal. I needed to improve my foraging skills to get tappers, and whilst picking spring onions out in the forest, I remembered I was close to Robin's axe. So on the way to dropping it back off to her, I saw Hayley. She was taking pictures at the lake. I'd never seen her do this before. So it was nice to see her passionate about something. I'm so proud of my future girlfriend. She's so focused. I broke this focus by giving her material goods. That night, a fairy visited the farm, but that wasn't the most interesting thing. I had unlocked the mayo machine. Now I could make mayonnaise! Another day, and still no gold star parsnips. So it was back to Pierre to get more seeds. I'm sorry for lying about it being a no farm playthrough and doing so much farming. Maurice threatened poor Pierre whilst I was shopping, but I just stood there and watched it all happen. Everybody rushed to Jojo Mart when Maurice offered out coupons, but came back the moment he left, so I don't really think Pierre has anything to worry about. Loyal customers. I finished the day fishing, as I did on most days. It was time to get serious about getting the money I needed for this barn. And this was the day I stayed up the latest I ever had, in-game and in real life. The 6,000 gold was easy enough to get. It would be the wood and stone that was going to be a real chore. Fortunately for me, I wasn't farming. Imagine doing all the watering, farming, and then going out and having to chop down trees and collect stone afterwards. Couldn't be me. Marnie wouldn't even let me browse at cows until I had a barn, so I have no idea how much they cost without looking it up. But plans were finally in motion for the construction of the barn. Up to this point, the bundles I had completed was the spring foraging and the crops bundle. And in terms of farming, all that was left was to get the dreaded 5-star gold parsnip. I had 1, so it was just 4 to go. But that was proving difficult. I'd even gotten Jody her precious cauliflower. I was running so low on time, and it was already day 20. There wasn't much time for this to go wrong. I only had a few shots left. So I applied to the soil the speed grow I'd obtained somewhere, I'm guessing a bundle. And on the next day of day 21, I'd gained enough materials to build the barn. I probably could have gotten them sooner, but I kept forgetting about my goal. Hopefully in summer, I'll keep focused on my goals a little better. The Adventurer bundle needed 99 slimes, so I made a start on that. But it was going to take ages. I did, however, reach level 20 at the mines, and gained these cute green hunter boots. Now this is where I no longer look like my character. My welly boots are neither hunter nor green. I'd seen someone fish out at the fountain, so I thought I'd give that a go. That person I'd watched had obtained something generally interesting, but I just got wood and stone. Maybe I'll try again at a later date. Once the chickens were tucked up in bed that night, I could knock down the fence to extend it out around the barn, ready for the cow. Now the chickens had plenty more room to roam. Time, again, as I keep mentioning, was running out on these parsnips. I'd gained another one, but it was day 23, and the flower festival was tomorrow. I wasn't going to give up hope, but I certainly wasn't going to make the farm any bigger. It was already too big for my liking. I was real tired of farming, but at least selling my dud parsnips was slowly increasing my farming skill, which I needed to get to at least level 6 for the cheese press. It was time for bed, ready to be well rested for the flower dance. I woke up next morning to a series of letters. I had been voted the best neighbour ever and won 500 gold for it. And my dad had sent me another 500 gold for living in the country. I live in the country and I'm a pretty good neighbour. Why can't I have £1,000? I did now have 4 of the 5 gold star parsnips, so we were almost there. But Pierre was at the flower dance today, so I couldn't buy any more seeds. But at least there was only one more to get. Once my minimal chores were done, it was off to the flower dance. Pierre was selling daffodils, so I stocked up on them to give to Hayley. I also bought this super cute rare crow. Now, remember when I said I'd only played sporadically here and there? Well, once I'd spoken to everyone at the flower dance, I completely forgot to ask who I wanted to dance with me. Obviously Hayley. Luckily, that was all a dream. Now for the real thing, I asked Hayley to dance with me. She said no. It was now a nightmare. I watched the dance alone from the sidelines and went home alone to put up my rarecrow and cry myself to sleep. With only 3 days left of the season, I was happy the barn was built, but anxious about these damn parsnips! I messed up and accidentally chopped down my beans. Maybe I'll do this with all my crops. I have no need for them. Or maybe I won't and continue to sell them for the experience. I don't know. Tell me what you think. As said, the barn was now completed, and now I could buy the cow. I debated on the name. Frungus was very tempting, and settled on Moots. Moots, Goofs, Spoofs, Snoots. Let me know what you think to these names, and what we should name future animals in the future. But our goal of getting a cow before the end of spring was completed. Just the stupid parsnip thing, and I've accomplished the 2 goals I'd set out to do. I don't like too many goals in life. Maybe we'll have more goals in summer. Definitely get cheese, and definitely a kitchen, and definitely working on our relationship with Hayley. A silo required clay. Something I hadn't really managed to get much of during my time, but I told myself I didn't need a silo. And then for the next 2 days, it rained, and it rained, and it rained. A bit like in real life. And I realised I didn't have enough hay to feed all the animals. So I did need a silo. It was time to find that clay. I did manage to catch my first catfish though, and I was happy to tick that off. I didn't even know where to start when it came to clay. Geodes had some, but that was nowhere near enough, and the beach was ruined now. Sorry guys. So, it was time for the mines. There is way too many bugs in the mine, but we did manage to gain the necessary clay we needed for the silo. Robin was in bed by the time I was done, so tomorrow it was. It was day 28, the final day of spring. A weird time to get a silo, but better late than never. It was raining again, and Maru wanted a catfish. I thought to myself, I did it once, I can do it again. And I did. Maru got her catfish. I got a few more times to catch a catfish, but it didn't quite turn out the same way. Oh well, at least I managed to catch 1 or 2 before the season ended. Oh, and did I manage to get those parsnips? Yes! Yes I did! Spring crops and foraging bundles, done! Crab pot bundle, done! Other bundles, as much as I can get for that season. Level 6 fishing, and all other skills on track. All in all, a very successful first season of Stardew Valley. With minimal farming. At the end of the day, Stardew Valley is basically a time management game. If someone told me in a job interview they achieved completing the community centre in the first year, I'd hire them. They clearly know how to manage their time effectively. I, on the other hand, do not know how to manage my time effectively. That's why these videos take so long. Hence why I dropped as much farming as I could do. I'm doing the bare minimum of farming. However, between me and this functional fictional human being I have created, who completed their community centre in the first year, I imagine we both had fun. And isn't that the point of Stardew Valley? If this gets popular enough, I'll quick move on to summer, and I plan on doing a video per season in Stardew. So let me know if you enjoyed this and would like to see more. If you like this video, why not like and subscribe? But for now, it's spaghetti time! Goodbye!